We're about to enter into the most stressful flu season that the profession of pharmacy has ever experienced. And I'm here to tell you that while it might be the most stressful and hands down will be, it'll also be the biggest opportunity you'll ever have to dispense more than medication, to dispense soul care and really connect with your patients through immunizations.
I see my victory so clear. I see my victory so clear. And today, we break through. And today, we break through. And today, we break through. And today.
Guys, things have been happening in my pharmacy to me that I just can't explain. And I started to realize that these incredible things that just brought so much fulfillment, not only for me, but more importantly, impact for my patients' lives. It really took me by surprise. And if you guys watched my video last week where I shared a really personal, in-depth interaction that I had with a patient, one of those God moments and kind of like highlights of your career that you have every once in a while, it happened last week and I was like, wow, this is incredible. But guess what? It happened again. A week later, it's as I'm filming this, it's August 29th, 2020. And I just had a similar patient interaction where I was really able to have a strong impact in a patient's life as their pharmacist. And it really caught me by surprise. I did not expect this. But I said, what the heck is going on? I had this incredible experience last week. Now this is happening again. What is happening? How can I pause and reverse engineer these interactions, these impacts with patients, so that I can really intentionally go into each interaction to provide the potential so that these can keep happening and I can show up for every patient in this light? And it came down to one common denominator: vaccinations. And you might be thinking like, is this boy crazy? Does he even practice pharmacy? Does he know what we deal with? Does he know the demands? Does he know all we're expected to do? And now we're trying to do all these flu shots and shingle shots and pneumonia and hepatitis and blah, blah, blah. Yes, I live it every day. I've been working full time since 2012. It is stressful, no doubt. How you manage that and respond to the stress will make all the difference. But what I want to focus on in this video right now is to share a simple strategy and to make an outrageous claim. I'm going to claim that while you work 8-hour shifts, 10-hour shifts, 13-hour shifts like I do, all it takes to make an intervention and a real connection on a deeper level with your patient is 10 seconds. And the other thing I'm going to say is it's actually even more simple than 10 seconds. You can connect with your patients and really reach them at a level to be more than a pharmacist, which is a tremendous responsibility and role of impact in and of itself. But to take that role and really serve your patients to a deeper level with one question. And you guys might be thinking like, what the heck is he talking about? And guys, I'm gonna be full, transparent, honest. I did not go into pharmacy with this intention whatsoever. I got this intention from pain, literally. So when I started as a pharmacist back in 2012, so I've been practicing in the community full time since then, I've always been an immunizing pharmacist. And I started to learn real quick that some people hated needles, even though it's preventing disease and proven and it's healthy and everything else. Getting a vaccination, a lot of people had anxiety over the needles, the experience, whether that was from a previous experience from their physician or in the past, it doesn't matter. I realized that talking to a patient was fine, but some patients, when you approach them with the vaccination process, that being needle into arm or wherever it may be, they had anxiety. Their whole body language changed, they got rigid, and they just did not look comfortable. So I took all of the work that I had been doing in personal development, in coaching, and I applied that to pharmacy. And that simple concept is that energy flows where attention goes. You get what you focus on, so focus on what you want. if you don't like needles and I'm about to stick a needle in your arm, even though it's for a good reason, and you say, there's a sharp object going in you, that's going to make it even more unpleasant because you're focusing on the experience. So I thought real quick, like, how can I shift that? How can I take their mind off of what is about to happen and allow them to focus on something else so that I can lessen the anticipation of pain and provide a more comfortable experience? So I did that with one question. And that question was really complex, really crazy. It was, so what are you doing fun for the rest of the day? Or if it was a Friday or a Thursday, so what do you have to look forward to this weekend? What's fun on your calendar? And I did that because I wanted them to shift their focus away from the needle going in their arm to something else, to something positive, so that they could literally shift their focus from the moment into something they're looking forward to in the future. Because transparency, they're distracted, and I'm able to do that, and it's going to cause less pain. Because if you see that needle coming towards your arm, you're going to tense up, and it's going to hurt more, right? If you've got tense muscles, that's going to hurt more now and later. But if you have a loose, relaxed arm, it's going to be a more pleasant experience. So my intention of doing that was to decrease the potential pain and increase the kind of experience for the patient so that they got the immunization, but they didn't necessarily have to go through the pain of it, okay? And what ended up happening was I started to get unexpected answers. And I didn't really realize this until the interaction that I had last week, that I shared about the interaction I had that was like a God moment, where I had a patient come in and shared her diagnosis. And we just had a moment, and I ended up going into a full 20-minute counseling session in the pharmacy, where I ended up praying for the patient, and we ended up crying together. And she told me that I was a blessing and that God brought us together. It wasn't an accident. And having that kind of interaction in a community pharmacy, that was like really special. So I thought, this is incredible. But what I'm telling you is that happened again a week later. Here I am, a week later from filming that, and it happened again to a different patient. So I started asking, like, where are these things coming from? And I tried to reverse engineer it so I could kind of help you to have these experiences, to have this kind of impact. And it really stems down to a 10-second window and a one-question opportunity. So here's what I mean. When you're a community pharmacist, you wear a lot of hats. You've got the drive-thru if you have one, the phones, you've got your technicians, you've got verification, you've got questions, you've got consultations, you've got, all the things at one time. And then you add immunizations on top of it. It'd be very easy to go through that, making sure safety is priority and everything else, but missing the opportunity to kind of mine your patients and kind of test the waters to see if there's anything going on that would enable you to make an intervention as a pharmacist. Because you're a trusted health professional. You're the most accessible healthcare professional. So why not use that position to see if your patients are in need of something else? And what I'm telling you right here is by having a sit down with the patient, and again, immunization, if you break down the process, like, yeah, you've got to do intake and stuff, but I'm talking about sitting with the patient, administering the vaccine. Roughly, that's like a 10-second interaction. So in 10 seconds, you have the opportunity to sit with your patient, to physically meet them where they are, but by using this question, you have the opportunity to give them the floor and test the waters to see if they're open to discussing anything on their mind, anything in their lives that would be impacting their care, their adherence, all of the things that are important, and there's tons of programs out there to help with that. But having this one interaction and using one question can allow you to really see what's going on in a patient's life. That one question that I came up with was, so what do you have fun going on the rest of the day? If it's near the weekend, what do you have fun going on this weekend ahead? If it's the beginning of the week, anything fun on your calendar this week? Shifting the focus towards something positive. Here's what happened. I was giving an immunization yesterday, okay, and I asked this question, really not thinking anything of it, but listening. And he told me a really difficult answer. He said, well, I have to make a decision of whether or not to pull the plug on my sister's life support. Boom. How's that for reality? So that just opened up the door for more questions. And just asking that patient, where are they at? And we started having more conversation. And again, it ended up in prayer, asking, like, may I pray for your family, for you? Because this is you literally, her life is in your hands. Like, you're making this decision. I can't imagine that. And I just wanted to kind of meet them where they were and have that conversation. But from asking that one question, it opened up the doors for what was going on in that patient's life, their mental health, what might have been impacting their adherence, what might have been impacting a lot of other factors as it relates to pharmacy care. And all of that stemmed from one question. How much do you think that patient feels like they were heard by their provider, their healthcare professional? How much do you think that patient feels like I viewed them as an actual person, a human being, rather than, let's get this over with, I've got stuff to do? How much do you think that person feels cared for? And if they are facing obstacles to their care, they would be more trusting and open to coming to me and sharing that kind of information so that I could make interventions as a pharmacist because we have that connection. That's the value of immunizations, because while you're doing all these things, that 10-second window, you're meeting patients where they are, and you can make an impact of testing the waters. You might just get an answer of, nothing or fine or nothing special, but you're meeting patients where they are, rather than trying to lead them or direct them one way or the other. This stems from actually something called the trans-theoretical model of change, which we use as pharmacists with smoking cessation therapy. If someone doesn't want to quit, we can't do anything about it. We can ask them, but if they aren't willing to go through that process, we will not be able to make an impact. However, if they are open to it, if they're considering it, if they're ready to make a change, that's when we can step in and start asking those questions to lead them to that process as their healthcare professional, part of their team, to have that conversation. And how do we do that? We do that by asking questions. That is the power that you have in that 10-second window to ask one simple question, to meet patients where they are, and you might just get a nothing special when you ask, what are you doing fun this evening? You might get nothing, dinner, the standard answer. But you might and you will at some point get an answer that opens doors to other conversations that have been behind the scenes impacting that patient's level of care. If you meet people where they are, you'll be able to lead them to where they're looking to go. Again, this is our role as pharmacists. It's a tremendous responsibility. We're very accessible. We have that trust with the white coat that we wear, with the position we have as a healthcare professional. But how you choose to use that makes all the difference. You don't have to do these crazy things. You don't have to spend hours and hours. I mean, you can, but what I'm telling you is you have the potential just to kind of see where patients are if they're open to having those kind of conversations, which could lead to pharmacist interventions by taking your 10-second window and asking one question. It's a 10-to-1 formula for success. It's going to open the door for how you can meet patients as a pharmacist and lead them to this place. So, guys, this happened again. It's the second time that I've had these deep interventions that started from a vaccination, and because I took that 10 seconds to ask one question, it opened up the door because that patient had the trust, because I'm their pharmacist. They opened up and shared that, and that led to other questions that I started to realize in connecting the dots that these things were affecting patient care. I'm not saying be a therapist. I'm not saying be a preacher. You're a pharmacist. Use that because you have that trust. But how are you going to use that? Are you going to show up as a pharmacist, as a human being for your patients, for actually giving genuine care to meet them where they are? Or are you just going through the motions? It's very easy, and no one would blame you for being safe and doing your job and this and that. But what I'm challenging you to do is take those 10 seconds and ask them one question, because you never know what that interaction could dispense to you. So I want to end this video with one simple question in less than 10 seconds. What are you going to do special at your pharmacy today?